Hi everybody, it's Sarah with We State Wool. Do you guys have a stack of granny squares like I do? If you do, and you want to start joining them, but maybe you don't have all the squares you need yet, or you do and you don't want to add some thin lines and such between them, you just want it to look like they seamlessly went together, but with a border, then you need to know how to do the join as you go method. This will take these and join them up into this. I'm gonna zoom you out. So here it is, the join as you go method. It looks like all I did was I took a square and added a border, and then brought in another square and added a border, and so on and so forth. And you can keep doing this for as big or small as you need or want. For however many squares you have, you can add to it more and more as you go in and further and further. And then when you're done, you're ready to finish the whole thing up, there's a final step to do that, and I will show you that all in today's video in the join as you go method right after this. So here we are getting ready to start the join as you go crochet granny square method. And what you see, of course, is one of my 4 round grannies. I have a stitch marker and, of course, yarn and hook. So the reason I have a stitch marker is because I'm going to mark, especially if you're a beginner at this, my very first square. And when you're getting ready to join up your squares, you want to arrange them how you think you want them to be. And I'm going to zoom out a touch. Here we go. So now, let's say this is how I want my squares to be. So I have in my head the visual of what I'm looking for. Now they're not going to be this close, but they are going to be roughly like this. All right, so I'm going to keep them in order, bring you back down in, and we're going to get started. Start with a slip knot, and I like to turn my work so that it's easy to work with. Don't feel like you have to work at funny angles. Turn your stuff. Let's not make this any harder than it already is. And that's another reason why I like to mark. It's all the way down here next to this corner on the bottom of the square, what I'm designating as the bottom of the square. Okay, so again, even if you're more advanced, this is a nice little method, especially if you get pulled away for a moment or twisted around while you're working. So join to your corner, your bottom right corner. And I want to bring in this, and again, I'm going to have to zoom you way out, get some stuff out of the way first. Okay, this is the graph, chart, whatever you want to call it, essentially for joining squares. So we're going to start with the very bottom right square after you've set them all up. And we're going to start in the bottom right corner. And you're going to work up the side as normal, as you would for a normal granny square, and across the top and down to this next corner, or the very last corner, because you will have started here and gone around. Then you will join to the next one in the corners, and then go up, across, and down again, and then join to the next one, up, across, and stop if that is your last square. If you have more, you keep going in this fashion, right? But when you reach your last square of the first row, you'll stop when you hit the third corner, first, second, third corner. And then you're going to join to the next row, the first square on the left, the next row. So you'll go up and you'll join the bottom left to the top left corners. And then for the second row, in all even rows, you will work across the bottom only. So we'll be joining, zigzag joining essentially, across the tops of the previous row and the bottom of the new row. So when you get from the first corner to the second corner, you stop there and you bring in the next square, and you'll join them by the corners that, you know, touch. And then you'll work across the bottom and then join as you know, keep going. And once you have reached your final square of the second row, or your even numbered row, you will stop at this, like you had been, second corner that you reach, and you'll work up the side, across the top, down the next side, and then join again to the square to its left. And then you go up, across, down, and then join again to the next square. Even though those squares are technically there, you're now filling in those gaps that we left as we only worked the bottom. And so on and so forth. And so it'll be basically, once you get row 1 started, it will be a 2 and then 1 row repeat over and over and over until you reach the very last row, where you will continue working a row 1 repeat, you know, going up and down and around. And then your step number 10 is to go all the way down the side, across the bottom, and join, across the bottom, and then join to this place where you started. I know that looks like, huh? But as we go, I'll bring this out and I'll show you what we're doing while we're doing it. Okay, so I've got my square and everything. I'm going to start here at this bottom right corner, and I'm going to work up, across, and down. Now before I go any further with this, and now I'm going to bring you back in. To start, you only work 3 double crochet, so you work half of a corner first. So I'm going to chain 3, and that will count as my first double. You can also do a standing double or an alternate double. However you work it is how you work it, okay? Either way, 3 doubles in this corner, and then you stop. Don't do anything else, because this will be joined up at the very last. So we're going to stop there. And if you chain 1 to go to the next spot, do that. If you don't, just go to the next spot. I don't. So I'm just going to jump in and start working my granny like normal. Let's pretend we're just putting a border around it on the square on its own. And this will become a finished outside edge, the way this gets worked up. All right, so continuing working, whoops, the border around the square. And when I get to my next corner, I will do a full corner, because we are going to turn and work across the top. So we do want to have a full corner. And I like to chain 2 in my corners. Whoops. However you do your corners, do your corners. Even if you use a special stitch like puff or popcorn or something, do the corners how you have been. And then we're going to work across the top just like you had been for your square. And again, we're just going all the way around, well, almost all the way around. We're going to stop when we hit our 4th corner. So I'm going to keep working this around. Whoop, maybe. Here we go. And I will meet you back up here at the bottom. I may just fast forward through this bit as I'm working it, because I'm almost there. Alright, so now I am at the 4th corner, and all we have is an open bottom and the corner to work. So as you can see, I've already kind of got started. I'm going to put 3 doubles in here and then stop. Okay, so facing correctly, this is the bottom. This is where we started. We did 3 doubles, only worked half the corner. Then we went up and worked everything like we normally would have and stopped with half a corner on the 4th corner. Now we're going to scoot this over and prepare our next square. And every square after that is joined the exact same way. Okay? So even your very last square. So to bring this back, I'm going to show you that we just did this. We started, we went up, across, and down. Now we're about to do this little arrow, which is to join to this corner, the bottom right corner. So we're joining the bottom left to the bottom right. Okay? And then we're going to go up, across, and down, and then join again in the same way. So to join those corners, what I like to do, again, turn your work so you can handle it. Put the wrong sides together if you like. I also will chain 1 because half a corner, and then I will come up from the bottom and slip stitch. And now I am, get this out of the way, joined. Okay, so all I did was chain 1 and then I slip stitched from the wrong side to the right side to join. And now we're done working around this square, but we're not done joining to it. So now we're going to work along this one's side. So now we're doing, grab the paper here, this part, up, across, and down. But there is a difference. When we go up, we're also going to be joining to this one at the same time. And it's easier than you think. So now that I've slip stitched, I'm going to do my chain 3 or alt double or standing or whatever you want to do. Of course, you can't really do a standing when you're doing that. So put your 3 doubles in the corner like so. Now, this is the bottom of the work. So again, we're leaving it open until the very end. All right. So now I've worked my half a corner and I'm ready to jump to the next open space, right? But first, if you chain up, you have an option. You can chain first and then join, or join and then chain. However you want to do that, if you work a chain between your clusters. I don't, so my next available space, I will just jump to. But I need to join so these are, together and not flopping, right? So I'm going to go into this first available space on the old square and slip stitch from the top down, grab the yarn and pull it up through and slip stitch, just like that. Now, if I were chaining up, this is where I would do it. I would chain and then start working. But I don't chain, so I'm going to start working. So then I will put 3 doubles into this next available space of the new square. So you're always going to work the new, join to the old, work to the new, join to the old, okay? Little skip along song for you there. Okay. So yes, things do kind of get awkward, and it is easier to work with this on a flat surface rather than in your lap the first time or 2 that you do this. All right, so now that we've worked this one, before we can jump up to this next available space and work more clusters, we need to join again. So we're going to go to the next available space on the old, from the top down, grab the yarn and slip stitch through. Then chain 1 if that's what you do, or just work 3 doubles into the next open space on your new square. And we will continue doing that all the way up. Well, because we're almost there, I'm going to keep working it with you. So here's the next available space from the top down. Grab the yarn and pull it straight up through everything, and then work your 3 doubles in the next spot. So also I want you to note that I am not even remotely trying to control this square. I am letting it just slide all over the place. It's too much to hold. I'm only working on this one, and so that's the one I'm holding and focusing on. Just try and give some tips. Okay, I know you're thinking, but this isn't gonna line up. It will, trust me, trust the method. Now we're going to slip to this space right before the corner and work 3 doubles in our corner here. Okay, so again, you have options. You can chain one, join, chain one, which is kind of what I do to kind of keep it symmetrical, or you can join, chain two, or chain two, join. I recommend splitting it completely even. So I like to chain one, and then I'm going to join in the chain two space of this corner with a slip stitch. So now those are joined, okay? And then I am going to chain one again, because I do a chain two, and then work my next 3 doubles in that corner to finish it. And this is how every new square will be joined from here on, even if this is your last square. So grabbing my sheet again, we just did this number. Now we're going to work across the top and down, and then we'll join the next square. But for me, I only did this, right? These 4. So I'm actually going to stop when I get to the top. We're going to work this one. So I'm going to stop when I get to the next corner. And then I'll tell you what we're going to do next. So let's pretend you joined all of your squares for this first row. However many that is, it doesn't matter. If you're just practicing like me, doing a swatch, a little chunk, as it were, then you only have 4 squares, and this is your last one of your first row. Okay, so I've worked across the top. Now what I'm going to do is work 3 doubles in here and stop. Remember, when we work the last row, we will finish the open sides. So don't worry about that. Don't sweat it. Okay, so now we're going to grab our next square and prepare to join it. I'm going to bring the sheet in again. So now what we're doing is step 2 on our sheet. We're going to go up, and we're going to join the bottom left to the top left. So the bottom left of the new to the top left of the old. And we'll work across the bottom, and we're going to join just like we did the sides, but now across the bottom of the new to the top of the old. So I've got my square, and I'm saying, okay, this is how I want it to be. And I am going to chain 1 and putting the right sides together like so. I'm just going to go up under the bottom and slip stitch to join. Now I can turn this work upside down and, you know, work across. I'm going to do my chain 3 and work 3 doubles or 2 more doubles into my corner and stop at that. Okay, so it's going to end up like this. So now the next available space to join is right here. And remember, if you chain 1, figure out when you want to do that, before or after you join. So I'm going to join to this next open spot here, just like we have been. And then I'm going to hop over and work another 3 doubles in the next open space on my new square. And again, find the next space on the old, join it with a slip stitch, and then work another 3 doubles in the next open space on your new square. And just keep doing that again. All right, so we have one more here on the old square to join to, right before the intersection, I like to call them. And now we're going to start the intersection. All right, so we essentially have done just this bottom row to this top row to this top side, and now we're going to join a bunch of corners, an intersection. So, and bring in our next square. So here's my next square, and what I'd like to do is chain 1 because it's half a corner. And now these will all get worked as we come back through. So I'm actually going to skip over this one and join to the opposite corner. Don't worry, this will get worked. And then I'm also going to slip stitch join this new square. And then I'm going to chain 3 and work 2 more doubles in this corner. And we're only working half of a corner each time along this part of the instruction. So then I'm going to start joining over to the next. And the reason I hopped over and did a diagonal join to this one, this will get worked when we come back around. This square is joining to this square, okay? This one already joined up to this one, but now we're bringing in the new, and we need to just join up new to new, if that makes any kind of sense. All right, so continue crocheting and joining along this bottom until we get to the next corner. All right, so now I'm going to work half a corner, you guessed it. And if I were joining more squares, I would do it just like I did from the pink to the orange, where from here I skipped over this one in this corner and hopped over to the next one to start in the next square. But now I'm pretending like I've done an entire row, you know, several squares, and this is my final one of this row. So we are now right here, and we're going to work 3. So we're going to go up, across, down, join, up, across, down, join, up, and across. So I'm going to chain 1, half a corner, and I'm going to join to this because this is my last square of the row. And then I'm going to chain 1 again, and I'm going to finish this corner because we're going to work up the side. So we are essentially turning the corner. And now I'm just going to work up and across. So I will be working another 2 full corners. So we are now back at the intersection, and so we are right here. Now we're going to do this slip stitch joining and working on the next square. But before we do that, we need to join to this intersection, and we also need to finish this one's corner. See, it was started when we worked across the bottom. Now we're going to finish it. So we're going to work our last 3 doubles in it. Okay, and chain 1. And now we're going to do that join to the opposite corner thing. You can go over or under. I'm just going to go over and slip stitch right into it. And now we're going to be working along this unfinished square to finish it. And I'm going to chain 1 again because I chained 2 from my corners, and I've already chained 1 to join. So now I'm going to finish by putting the last 3 doubles in this corner. And before I move on, I would like to show you that these are now all nice and joined. So you have a nice, lovely intersection. So now we're going to start joining to this square, and we'll go to the next open spot above the corner, slip stitch, and work 3 doubles in the new, or the unfinished, if that's how you want to refer to it. Come to the next open spot, slip stitch, and work your 3 doubles, just as we have been. So the reason I'm stopping here is to explain something. As we continue this along, and you go and you continue to join, you know, go up and across and down, up, across, down, you'll do that, and then join your next row, come up and work across the bottom of the new and the top of the old, just straight across to join, and then work again just as we are now, up, across, down, up, across, down. You'll keep doing that till we get to the final row of your blanket. When we do that, we will do as we normally do for a row 1 repeat, go up, across, down until we get to the last square, and that's the place where it changes. So instead of going up and joining across again, we're going to go down the sides and finish off all the open edges. So that is where I am at now. I'm pretending like I've done several rows and several squares, and now I'm ready to finish this thing off. So as per normal, we're going to finish it like we would any other square with a row 1 repeat of, or a step 1 repeat of going up and across. But then this is where it will change. Instead of going up again to join a new row, we're going to go down. So let's finish this up, and I just joined to the last space before the corner, and I'm going to start my corner. Chain 1, join to the chain 2 space of the previous square, chain 1 again, and finish this corner. And then I'm going to work across the top. So now I have made it across the top, and I'm going to start this corner, and in fact I'm going to do the whole corner because we are now going to turn and go down. So anytime you're turning a corner, you're going to do the whole corner. So now I have turned my work so that it is on its side, and I'm going to work down to this next intersection here. I'm going to stop when I get to here, and I'll show you what we're going to do after that. All right, so here I am at the last space. It's actually the remainder of this corner. So I'm going to finish it with the 3 doubles that are missing. And I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to join right between these two here with a slip stitch. And I'm going to chain 1 again because I chained 2 for my corners. And then I'm going to finish this corner on this square as well. So you can see now how it's joined. And I'm going to work down, turn the corner, so work a full corner, and go across until I get to this next intersection. All right, so here I am before this next intersection. So once again, I'm going to finish this corner, join, and finish this corner. Chain 1, join, chain 1, and finish this corner. Now we have joined here, finished this corner. We are now going to finish the last square of the bottom of our blanket, and we can now remove the stitch marker so it's out of the way, and then we will join to this first starting point. Okay, before I do that, I would like to show you where we're at. So we just did step 10. We came all the way down the side. Now we're going to go, we did all the way across, and we're at this point. So we need to finish this corner because it only has 3. And then however you do chain 1, chain 2, chain 3, whatever it is. For me, it's chain 2, and then I'm going to join to the top of the first stitch or the chain 3 with a slip stitch, and then I'm going to fasten off my work. Whoop, let go. And I'm going to zoom you out. And here it is, all joined up. Now, is this finished? It could be with blocking, but I recommend going around, say, single crochet, and then do whatever border you want to do after that. The single crochets will just sort of help shore some of this up, but so will blocking. So if you like it as it is, you don't want it to be super big or whatever border, you certainly could stop here and just block to get everything perfect. If you don't want to block, most people don't with a big blanket, then do a single crochet round to shore up your uneven, if there is any uneven bits. It's yarn, it's fabric, and we're only human. Things like this will happen. So also your tension and how you're holding things will come into play as well. So if I wasn't perfectly the same all the way around while doing this, then yeah, it's going to have some differences. So this is the join as you go method. You can get this printout on my website. I will leave a link in the description box below. It will be on the Join As You Grow, yes, Join As You Go tutorial blog post, where I have photo tutorials as well, and a link to this video should you get stuck again and nothing else is helping and you got to come back. Please do. Thank you for joining me, and please hit the subscribe button. Like this video, that tells YouTube that this is a video worth watching. Hit the little bell icon to be notified each time I upload a new video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.